This video takes a look at what you already know in math, exponential equations, where 3 to the 4th equals 81, and takes that and then expands it to the use of a new kind of equation called logarithmic equations that look like this. This would read log base 2 of 128 equals 7. So how these two types of equations relate to each other and how you can go back and forth between them. The second part of the video is going to be all about solving equations, but not the kind of equations you're used to from way back in the day, like 3x plus 1 equals 49. It's going to be a new kind of equation, and it is log base 3 of 2x minus 1 equals 3. So you're going to learn how to solve logarithmic equations as well, the simple ones at least. So with no further ado, let's get it on. As you can see here in the chart, there's two different forms we're going to be looking at. On the left-hand side, you see exponential form right over here. So things like 2 to the 4th power is 16, or 10 to the 3rd power is 1,000, or 4 to the negative 3rd power is 1 over 64. And remember, where does that come from? That comes from the fact that if we were to do this here, that would be equivalent to 1 over 4 to the 3rd power. And then, of course, 4 to the 3rd power is 64. So that's where that comes from right there. However, the question becomes, okay, so if we know what it is in exponential form, how do we get it over here in logarithmic form? And you can see how these things might look over here. So let's go ahead and let's just dive right in and see what we can do here. So let's take a look at the first one here. So it says 2 to the 4th power. So this 2 is the base. So how we're going to write that over here is we're going to write log. Because our base over there is a 2, it's going to go down low here. So that would be subscript. Whatever the answer is, in this case it's 16, is going to go right here. And then the power is going to be on the other side of the equal sign. So think of it as 2 to the 4th power is 16. So we can do that on the next one over here. Log. In this case, our base is 10. Our answer is 1,000. So that's going to be big up here. And then equals 3. So this would read log base 10 of 1,000 is 3. On the next one, if we were to do that, we'd say log base 4. Our answer, and I'm going to put this one in parentheses here. You don't always have to do this, but it helps when you're doing fractions. And then equals negative 3. So 4 to the negative 3 power is 1 over 64. And it reads as log base 4 of 1/64 is equal to negative 3. So that's if we're going from exponential and we're going towards logarithmic form. But the question now becomes, can we go backwards? Well, what if we only know the log form? Can we convert it back to exponential? And the answer is, of course, yes. So it would be 5 to the 3rd power. So I'm going to write over here 5 to the 3rd power, and then equals 125. On the next one, our base is 2. So we'd say 2. Our answer over there is a 5. So 2 to the 5th power is 32. And then over here, we have our base is 7, so we would say 7 to the power of negative 2 equals 1/49. And so basically, if you were to talk about this just in general for any sort of exponential form, logarithmic form, it might look like this. We have a base raised to the power of x equals some answer, which we'll call y. And how we'd write that over here is we'd say log, our base is b, that'll go down here, our answer is y, and then our exponent is x. So that's how you can go back and forth between the two. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you, and back to part 2. All right, the last part of this video is going to be looking at logarithmic equations, and I have 4 of them up here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be solving each of them for x. So on this first one over here, you see log base 3 of x equals 4. So the first thing you always want to do is convert this into exponential form. So we're going to say 3 to the power of 4. So 3 to the power of 4, and we're going to say equals x. And then all we have to do is know what 3 to the power of 4 is. Well, that means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And as we know, 3 times 3 is 9. So really this is the same thing as 9 times 9. And so the answer here is going to be 81. All right, so that's going to be our first one over here. Over here, same kind of thing. We're going to go immediately into exponential form. So we'll say 2 to the power of x equals 8. So now you have to ask yourself, 2 to what power is 8? And the answer is 3. And in case you aren't sure about that, you could take 3 2's And you can multiply them together. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. On the next one over here, we would say, if we go to exponential form, 6 to the power of negative 2 equals x. So what is 6 to the negative 2? Well, that's the same thing as 1 over 6 squared, and that would be the same thing as 1 over 36. So our answer over here is going to be 1 over 36. All right, and this last one gets a little more complicated on purpose over here. So instead of just x, we have 3x plus 1. So let's first of all go ahead and convert it over to exponential form. So I'm going to have 7 squared equals 3x plus 1. Well, 7 squared is 49, so we're going to have 49 equals 3x plus 1. And then to solve for x, this is a simple equation you've been doing for years. So go ahead and subtract 1 on both sides. So if I do that, I'm going to get 48 equals 3x. And then from there, I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. And if you take 48 and you divide by 3, you get 16. So the answer over here is 16. All right, well, I hope you liked this video on part 1 of logarithmic equations and functions. Of course, there is a part 2 and a part 3, so keep going to the next 2 videos here and you'll learn even more about logarithms. Thank you.